revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
The revolution is live here on 66.6 WMAW Devil Dog Radio. Welcome to the Maw. I am your big demonic hellhound host, Sarge, and I'll be spinning my favorite music from black artists as we continue our Black History Month celebration with a show that I'm calling, personally, Devil Dog Radio's Black History Month Block Party 2, Gasoline-Powered Boogaloo. The world's on fire, motherfuckers. I'm just old and I hate everything. Speaking of hatred, in the racist shithole country that we live in, it's really vital that we broadcast the revolution live and fight side by side with the black community, for the black community. The heart and soul of Devil Dog Radio, as owned and operated by me, the only employee, is, we fight on the side of the black community, of indigenous people, the Mexican community, all immigrants, LGBTQIA+, the trans community, women, the autism community, the poor, the oppressed, every fucking underdog in this Christo-fascist lump of stolen land that we call the good old who gives a shit. This is what we stand for. This is the call. This is the this is the broadcast, people. Turn this fucking shit up. This is our block party, so let's fucking go.
Yeah, man, big up all the road boy and all the road girl. What am I trying to stifle it?
Yeah, that is the band called Proper doing Red, White, and Blue here on 66.6 WMAW. This is our Black History Month Block Party Part 2. I want to honor and celebrate Black History Month, not just this show or in the month, but all the fucking time. And I also want to give a place for us fucking us beasties to get together with people who are on the same side of the fight, because when it comes down to it, we know who the fucking people, we know who the puppet master is pulling the strings, and all the people at the top of the fucking country making decisions for people that they don't like or care about. We know we're not that. We're not on that side of the team. We're all here at the bottom. So some of you subs are much more on the bottom than others. But so the whole thing is, I know it sounds like 1984, because it is. They want us to fight, because you know what? Because one rat that shows up at the fucking Chick-fil-A, that ain't a big deal. Sure, there's millions in the walls. You hit one rat over the head with a fucking broom, and then that's fine. Unless you're in Boston or New York, in which case you've pissed off a rat the size of a fucking Rottweiler, and you better run. But the point being is, if we all work together, we can fucking kill these motherfuckers. We could take back the night. I know it sounds like an 80s metal lyric, and maybe it is, but it ain't any less fucking true. So we're all we got here. Team us. Let's have each other's backs. Let's lift each other up. Let's learn about each other, honor each other, and fight for each other. But why does a fat old hobo crack Santa like me, why do you care so much about black people? The people who would be asking that would be just like, couldn't conceive. Oh God, if only they couldn't conceive. Okay, I'm going to say something right now that I 100% mean. Please cancel me, but here's the thing. If all of, let's say, Trump supporters, all of them, if they if they just ceased to exist, take that however you want, do not tell me, at least in this country, things get exponentially better They get better. That's it. It's better. It's so much better. People are alive. People are safer. It's all good. There's no downside. There's no downside. Well, but ethically, I wasn't talking about ethics. You see the horns, motherfuckers? I'm talking about, hey, if you got a fucking terrarium and somebody put in a fucking chlorine Nazi Hitler plant and was killing everything else, if you took that out, okay, if you took it out and flushed it down the toilet, the rest of the terrarium is going to thrive and be beautiful. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, people are like, what are you, you're a traitor to your own race? Like, yes, all day fucking long, all day. I again, because who gives a shit, I'm not a fan of white people as a whole, or just people in general, really, but mostly white people. Why? Because they're the oppressors. They're the racist power structure that run this country. Because certainly it's no one else at a Dollar General at fucking noon on a Sunday making a fucking teenager cry because they didn't have whatever fucking ethnically cleansed tissue paper. I don't know. It's always fucking white people. And again, not a fan. You know what they say? There's no hate like Christian love. All these people have fucking cross tattoos and they're all Jesus this and Jesus that. And they are the least Jesus people of all the Jesus. Is that a plural for many Jesus? Jesuitudes? A murder of Jesus. Wait, that was the crucifixion. Oops, sorry. All right, we call that a crucifixion, Sarge. Fucking read your Bible. I can't. I'm too busy burning them. But to get back on track, because my brain, if we're on the highway, and, oh, what's that, an access road with a fucking do not enter sign? Oop, we're going down it. Oh my God. And then where were we even going to begin with? I don't know, we're lost and I have to eat you. That's that scenario. So I educated myself at an early age and never stopped. Like, as I said last show, Muhammad Ali was always and will always be a true fucking hero and inspiration and role model. I was, again, born in the 60s, grew up in the 70s. I watched how the country treated him and all black people, and I'm still watching that fucking horror show today. Nothing's changed. Now, and I never, ever, ever, ever want to compare anything in my own life or whatever to the black community, especially when we're when we're doing a show that highlights black artists and figures in history, and we're all witness to how this country treats black people, minorities, people of color, historically and currently. So now, as a child, when I saw that, like I was being judged and abused and tormented and cast aside for who I was and what I looked like, and again, not the same. But when you get a taste of injustice and prejudice and you experienced it directed at you, you have a different perspective on the world and people and everything. So I always felt, I don't know what the word is, like kinship, I guess. Like we were on the same side. And that's why I admired Muhammad Ali so much, and why I started educating myself about race and people who were supposedly different than me. But I kept finding more and more how alike we were. And it felt, and it still does kind of feel personal. Again, even though I'm not, I'm just an ally, I hope, at the very least. I mean, if you judge and discard people by what they look like and who they are and being poor and being different, I mean, it's an emotional thing. It's a really fucking powerful life lesson. one that I learned at an early age. Oh, sorry, I don't want to be fucking crying through all this bullshit. So let's say, on a more chipper note, like this is absolutely 100% true. I think I've told this in a previous or in past show. But when I was 17 and in high school, me and my best friend Dave, we were driving in my whale of a 1977 Ford LTD2 Landau. So we're driving in that, going down the main street of my hometown, and we saw a Klan rally on the town green. And we both lost our fucking shit. Like, and Dave, the fucking voice of reason, man. The voice of reason actually wouldn't be up there. I don't know if he's anywhere. Listen, if we're to believe the German Bible, if there's a hell, you're gonna be there because that's where the fucking fun is. But he was the voice of fucking reason in screaming, like, damn, our minds work the same. He was like, we need eggs, and I knew exactly what he meant. Like, it wasn't, anyone else might have thought, like, are we going to, like, is the breakfast at McDonald's? What do we mean we need? I don't understand. No, I knew exactly what he meant, and I fucking launched that 400 cubic inch behemoth at fucking 90 miles an hour down a 2-lane main street, and fucking skidded into one of those convenience, like gas convenience things. Dave he jumped out the window of the car before it stopped. He did that all the time, as well as jumping through the window as we were tearing away from what some would consider a felony. Anyway, he fucking booked into the store. He came out like I'm assuming he threw a $10 bill at the counter because there's no way he waited in line. He came out immediately. Maybe he stole 2 dozen eggs. I don't know. Actually, that was a good question. I wish I knew that. He's dead now. Well, but anyway, so we fucking raced back to the green, and we opened up on those fuckers. I mean, until our arms were sore. 2 dozen eggs at the fucking Pointy Hat Clown Brigade. And we weren't stupid either. There were these big pine trees that they did line the back side of the green. So we parked on a back access where we came in the back way. And so we were throwing them from behind, like we would peek out and whip them from behind the pine tree. And they couldn't really tell where they were fucking coming from until they did. And then we sprinted back over the hill into my car and fucking raced away laughing, because that's something to be proud of. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm putting it in my obituary. I've already written my obituary. It's really entertaining. And it does contain a reference to that. Just so I could piss people off from beyond the grave. It was fucking glorious, though. And it's no mystery. One of our favorite movies, me and Dave's, was Blues Brothers, right? So the whole, I hate Illinois Nazis. In a car that was actually technically a little bit bigger than the fucking Bluesmobile, by the way. Fucking Elwood drops the fucking thing in low, puts it to the floor, and he points the ornament at the nearest swastika. So I guess, yeah, what I'm trying to say is that I was taught that, evil and cruelty and injustice is wrong. And here's the key. Even if it's happening to people that don't look like you, white America. It's an injustice when McDonald's stops serving fucking breakfast at noon and you're gonna fucking throw hot coffee on a teenager's face. But someone else being killed for no reason, just no fucking reason other than police are racist pieces of shit, and you can sleep at night? Go fuck yourself. Again, there's no hate like Christian love, and no hypocrisy like Christian hypocrisy. Me and my brother we didn't get along a lot of the time, but there were a few times when he stood up for me. And I remember every moment that someone stood up for me, because It didn't happen a lot, and yet it meant so fucking much. But yeah, so you learn that when someone's getting picked on, you stand up for them, and that you speak your mind even if your fucking voice shakes, and you throw punches through tears, and you did whatever it took to protect the vulnerable. It wasn't speaking of Christians, wasn't that the Bible thing? And I wrote this down with the truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. They don't give a shit. As always, Christians, they don't read or understand the Bible, or they more accurately, well, actually that is accurate, but what they really do is they use passages they get on the interwebs to justify their prejudice and hatred. How can I weave this little fucking thing into something that backs up my hate? Christianity, everybody. There you go. There's the tagline. The character Max in Woody Allen's movie Hannah and Her Sisters said it absolutely the best when he says, if Jesus came back and saw what was going on in his name, he'd never stop throwing up. No one's truly free unless everyone is fucking free. And you know what's free right now? This free pirated, really, really illegal radio show that's going on right fucking here, right fucking now, and we have the freedom, at least here and now, to shake our fucking asses. So let's do it. Let's do it in the song that I didn't have queued up, you stupid asshole. But we're doing it now. LL Cool J did Jack the Ripper. Most of you just know LL Cool J as being one of the sexiest fucking men ever. That's what. Listen, that's what I first thought when I saw him. I was like, God damn. Also, fucking super talented hip hop artist. Everyone knows Going Back to Cali or whatever, but like, fucking Jack the Ripper was always one of my favorite tracks. And we started things off shaking our jelly asses to the Groove Armada. I see you, baby, shaking that ass. So, well, fucking, hold on. This is all weird. It's all weird now. The microphone is weird. That's what it is. Gotta get it up. Higher. God damn it. Now the microphone is engorged. Thank you for joining in. You are listening to, oh, this thing's going to go across the room in about 5 seconds. You are listening to fucking Crystal Meth Santa doing, because every fucking family had a very small, shitty tube television that the plastic knob would fall off, and you get these little pliers, and if you wanted to change the channel, you had to get up off your fat ass, go across the room, grab the pliers, and chunk to the 2 other channels that were showing shit you didn't want to see. That was reality. So, again, I heard music, but I didn't know who was making it. So the first time I was ever actually to put a face to the music, my dad was very much into bluegrass music and country music. I know that doesn't sound very diverse, but that's the kind of music he grew up listening to, and so those are the albums we had in the house. So I remember he had a Charlie Pride album, and Charlie Pride was the first that I know of. Maybe, don't hold me to that. I haven't done the research, but I think was like certainly one of the first and famous black country musicians. Listen, the last show I told you about, black gentlemen going to race cars in the most racist sport ever. Like, why would you do that? That's crazy talk. Pick another hobby. Like, Charlie Pride, like, I'm going to be an artist in country music, and that's the equivalent. That's the fucking... It'd be like me fucking trying to get signed by a fucking, like, Christian rock label. Like, listen, I don't believe in any of your horse shit, but hear me out. It's absolutely unheard of, but again, really inspiring. He did what he loved despite horrible opposition. But yes, my dad had a Charlie Pride album, and during the 70s, the music that was on the radio that changed my world there was a lot of music that was on the radio in the 70s that fucking changed my world, but I can tell you, and I'm going to tell you right now, when I first heard Stevie Wonder, one of my musical heroes. Holy shit. Brian Wilson's another one of my musical heroes. I have a few, but Stevie Wonder. I remember the first time my little brain came online, I was out in the backyard with my sister. My sister was watching. I was like a kid, and we were out in the backyard. It was summertime. My sister had she had a towel out, and she was going to sunbathe, and we had a little plastic transistor radio, and we were listening to the local station. I heard Sir Duke for the first time, and the sounds and the groove and the melodies and the chords changes, and it was different and better than anything I had heard or was hearing. Like this, it stuck out. Like I said, it must have stuck out. I could picture it in my head now. That moment, it really stuck with me. And when I finally had the cash, had a job, and was older, and I could buy my own music, I went right out and I bought, Stevie Wonder, Intervisions, Talking Book, and fucking epic Songs in the Key of Life. It's a double album, and every song's a fucking hit. So, as a musician, huge inspiration and influence, at least initially, or understand that he was a black artist. And then, of course, when I did, who gives a shit? He's like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, his music is fucking phenomenal. And no one was writing songs like that. When you talk musical genius, it's not overstated when you're talking about Stevie Wonder. Anyway, so what I'm going to do right now, I want to play a block of Stevie Wonder of my favorite tracks. And believe me, again, I could do a whole show of Stevie Wonder if I wanted to. So this was hard to narrow down to 6 songs. You're going to get a Stevie Wonder 6-pack. 6-pack 360, baby. Yeah, a 6-pack block of the Stevie Wonder. Most of the songs in that set, Stevie Wonder was playing all the instruments, all of them, drums, bass, everything. I know Prince was really fucking talented as well and could play most anything. But before Prince, let's just never forget fucking Stevie Wonder, because that shit's amazing. I hope you heard in those songs what I hear, because then I think you'd really, really appreciate them. Anyway, you are listening to 66.6 Devil Dog Radio. Here, this is our Black History Month Block Party Part 2. Part 2. Because I had shit to say and songs to play, and it just, one show wasn't enough, and a month isn't enough. And so we're fucking doing it. We're doing it, and we're doing it now. I hope you beasties are doing well on this Friday night. I hope you got something fun planned. I mean, if you did, you wouldn't be here. But sure, thanks for hanging out anyway. Something else I wanted to talk to you about. Not talk to you. Easy. You see, son, when you love a girl and you put your penis in her vagina, you destroy your entire life. That's what happens. I didn't want you, and yet here we are having this talk. I need to be out cheating on your mother right now, and this is cutting into that. I don't even know what I was saying. There wasn't any notes for that. That was just what I like to call an episode. Because you can go out and learn, well, you can learn about Black history in some states. Oh, it sounds like a joke, and yet it isn't. Oh, dear God. Anyway, I don't think they've blocked your internet if you live in the South. So if you could, you should still be able to find Black history on the internet, and you can find out contributions, and it's endless. It is endless. It is vast. And in doing this show, I get to research and learn. That's what it learn, and that is, it's fucking cool. It's learning's cool. Everybody, you heard it here first. Jesus, hire him. Hire the fat, naked demon guy to really kind of get the kids pumped up about fucking learning things, becoming more knowledgeable about the world. Isn't that I don't know. To me, that's a really amazing thing. So you could throw it up in someone's face during an argument. That's obviously the only reason you want to learn things. In a world that's trying to erase black history, and which includes obviously slavery and everything else, it's really important that we learn and preserve the truth. We learn and preserve history. It would have been cool if we could entrust our institutions and our government to do the right thing. When have they ever done the right thing? I mean, sometimes they tried to do the right thing, Roe v. Wade, but you know, rights are not permanent, as we've learned. They can revoke anything, anytime. You know, it can be a fun thing to go look up a few facts and educate yourself. And it's also, to me, I think it's a gesture to try to preserve, to learn, preserve, defy. And I just think you're a more well-rounded person. And if I know anything about being a person, it's being very well-rounded. But as I was contemplating and doing some inner searching. What Stevie Wonder album was that? Was that before or after Inner Visions? Inner Searching, was that the one? I thought on it hard. And something so obvious that I forgot it for the first show was my friend Eddie. And please, I know this is going to sound, from an outside perspective, this is going to sound like, and I have a black friend too, but it's not that. It's we're talking about how did I learn about race? How did I learn? How did I evolve and learn and become the person I am now? And Eddie, as I almost took for granted, was possibly the biggest part of that. So I come from a small white farming white town of 99% white fucking Crackerville of whiteness in Crackervania. is very white. The town it's like half rich professionals who wanted to live far away from the diversity. Let's move out to the country where you can pretend that, Mexicans don't exist. Great, thanks. And now property taxes and everything in that little shitty town is through the roof, thanks to you motherfuckers. And then the other half of it is this lower middle class, boot scoot boogie, Dukes of Hazzard, Dale Earnhardt redneck wannabes. Like, not even joking. These are white kids with cowboy boots and hats and sleeveless flannel, like Larry the Cable Guy. They're driving a diesel pickup truck with a tiny penis extension. They're flying a Confederate flag in fucking Connecticut. Dude, how confused are you? I'm guessing you don't know anything about anything, let alone that flying a Confederate flag is like going out after the Super Bowl and buying all the merch of the losing team. We lost and we're losers. Better fly that on my truck just to show the world how fucking stupid I am. Good old-fashioned Christian family value. Racism is what it means, but Christian family values, quite literally, no joke. That means racist. That's what it is. So black families were few and far between in my hometown. Now, back in the 70s, when my brother and sister were in high school, I remember parties and events at the house where there would occasionally be one or two black students. And, oh God, this is I have to tell this story. I got a drink. Hold on. Wait a minute. I gotta get some substances in me. Just give me a moment. This is a lot. This is one I won't be telling at my mom's funeral. Oh my god. Here we go. Okay. So, at some of these, because my parents would throw parties for my brothers and brother and sister, and party. My parents were literally the parents who would like serve, back before it was illegal, would serve alcohol to the kids. As long as you're staying here, if they're gonna drink, they're gonna drink under my roof. That was literally my parents. My alcoholic parents are like, listen, these kids are destined for alcoholism. Let's make sure they're doing it at home like we do. Yes, please do it in front of your children, because that's not gonna. It has no lasting scars. It's awesome. I hardly ever think about it when I'm fucking screaming into a pillow. So, as I said, there would occasionally be, 1, 2, 3, black students from the local school. And my good-hearted mother, who I cannot stress enough, was drinking heavily at the time, and is on, or at least taking up a large chunk of the spectrum, showed, in her best intentions, I can't stress enough, how cool she was. She was trying to be hip. With the whole racial thing, she wanted to. It was her way of saying it doesn't matter to me. But her way of doing that was to walk up and stand between two of the black students who were at the party and saying, "Hey, look, we're an Oreo cookie." Oh dear God. I got really. As a teenager, I was back in the day, before there was the word woke, I would get into screaming arguments with my family, relatives, anyone who was in the house. Like, my parents grew up in the fucking 30s, 40s, 50s. Their respectful term for a black person was colored, which is no longer used. Well, it wasn't used in the 80s or whatever where this story takes place. So I would jump down their throats, and again, her heart was definitely in the right place, but the dismount, snap both femurs and careen into the crowd, killing 12. To get back on track, that was at the time the extent of my interactions with people of color, right? I would see entertainers on TV and in movies, and the music in our house was super diverse, even if I wasn't aware of it in certain stages. I was just listening to music I liked, but it was diversity and exposure to different types of people and anyone to explain them was very, very limited in white bread USA. So in middle school, I was part of an outcast group of mongoloids. Like, no joke. I'm not even joking. We were like the grease trap of humanity. We had like a psycho vandal who was in and out of juvie. Check. Ginger Bear Grylls, who owned way more guns and crossbows and whatever. Yep, check. Tiny Italian Jerry Lewis, who always uses way too much energy and always seemed to be breaking things. Yep, we got one of those. A girl with Down syndrome and her sister. Yep, and me. In retrospect, it's pretty spot on. That is a group that I can relate to on several levels. And we were like the best of friends, and that was my only friends. Like, then I don't know when, but Eddie's family moved into our town and came to our school, and he was the only black male in the school. And I don't know how we started talking, but one day we both started quoting Bill Cosby back and forth and became like best friends. Something I didn't talk about was the diversity of music in our house and entertainment. Like, my brother and sister had Richard Pryor albums, which I inherited. Unbeknownst, my parents did not know it existed on those albums. If they did, there's no way they would have let, like, a 6-year-old me have. But Richard Pryor albums and this was before the rapiness, but Bill Cosby, obviously. Bill Cosby, we had like tons of Bill Cosby albums, and it was just, again, I grew up around humor and stand-up comedy and that stuff. And for a parent, because Bill worked clean, like he wasn't swearing, and it was the funniest stuff you'd ever heard. Like these stories and like mind-blowing. And like anything else with my brain, when I get into something, it's very, like when I love something, it just gets ingrained in my head, so I can quote all of those bits, and I could when I was in middle school. So it might have been the Noah routine. Something he used the term from the Noah routine, and then I just continued the bit, and we started going back and forth, and then that was it. We were fucking friends, and we would go, like, I would go play at his house. This was, again, I was a kid. Your parents drop you off. You go play at their house. You meet their parents, and you have dinner, and we just had fucking fun. And he'd come over to my house, and we do all kinds of fun shit. And like, quite literally the best of friends. So much so that 17 years later, all way down the road, Eddie was at my first wedding. So we never stopped being in each other's lives or being friends. And him and his wife and their kids came to my first wedding. My first wedding, just like the plight of civil rights in this country, it ended horribly. That marriage, in a noxious cloud of lies and infidelity. But I digress. I didn't know it at the time, but that was it was my initial and a pivotal experience and education on race. I mean, it gave me a very different perspective than my ignorant / racist peers and the same, and adults who taught them in my town. Like, because when you're kids, it's like Eddie didn't care that I was fat and weird, and I didn't care that he was black. We connected through like our humor and our interests, and we really enjoyed each other's company, and that's all that mattered. Like I said, as a kid, you're ignorant of the complexities of race and culture and racism, and I'm lucky and really grateful that I had a friend like Eddie who quite literally helped shape my world and show me that differences like are only problems and obstacles if you meet them with fear and ignorance and everything else. Like, nobody's born racist, This is all, I guess, I don't know if my parents were a great example, because we never really talked about serious things and like that. But maybe they were a good influence just by not being a bad influence. They weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they did not teach me to hate. I learned that all on my own. Oh, shit. Anyway, we should get back to some music, I guess. Oh, I could go on talking like this all night, but unfortunately, the old clock on the wall says there's only an hour and 42 minutes left. Oh, shit. Yeah, I know he's not listening to this, thank God, but man, thank you so much, Eddie. Holy shit. We had some fucking great times. Like, again, we didn't know or care about racism at the time. Like, we were just kids, and we were kids who were too busy playing Shrinky Dinks on the kitchen table and quoting Bill Cosby to fucking worry about anything else. I wish I could go back to that. So in the ongoing saga to figure out what the fuck's wrong with me, and it is ongoing, I mean, besides the obvious stuff, the doctor scheduled an MRI for me, a magical robotic intercourse. I don't know what it stands for, but I've had I've had dozens and dozens of MRIs during the month and a half that I was in the hospital dying from the rare Jim Henson Muppet disease. And the MRIs were always just not a big deal. They inject you with what's called contrast dye. And as the nurse explained it to me, she was like, I'm gonna inject you with it, and you're gonna feel like a nice warm burning sensation in your throat and chest, like if you drank whiskey, and then it slowly moves down into your stomach, and then it settles in your crotch. And a lot of people say it feels like you pee yourself. And I swear, hand to dead fathers, dead people, hand to all the dead people, word to your mother, and hand to all the dead people. I said whiskey and pissing myself. I was like, you just described a typical Friday for me. But anyway, they inject you with this stuff. They put a pillow under your head and da-da-da. You lay on this little thing, and there's like this giant donut, and they kind of just, your feet sticks out, and it's not a big deal. It's like a donut. It's not the fucking Ocean Gate sub. It's your head and stuff isn't inside of it. But this MRI wasn't like that. So I'm going in all, I've had a billion of these, this isn't a big deal, boop, 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 I'm going to go get this done, and then stop and get something to eat, and then I'm going to go, like, I had my whole day, like, this is going to be fun. Anyway, so I get on the platform, and the pillow under my head, and I don't know if I need to remind you, I'm fat, like, a lot. I'm a pretty big dog, and what they're sliding me into, this tube, this fucking, we're gonna go see the Titanic. Like, no, we're fucking not. We are not. That's where we're not going. But they stuff my fat sausage body into this fucking casing, like they're making kielbasa, and they slide me in. Now, again, I didn't realize this until it was happening. Maybe if I had educated, like if I was like, what's going on? Like, how far will I, blah, 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 blah. I thought is this like last time? Yes! No! It is nothing like last time. So, they literally squeeze me in here. I can feel the tube like pressing against my stomach. Like I am wedged in this thing. And my face is maximum 2 inches from the top of this thing. I didn't know I was claustrophobic until I fucking was. If I could put this in medical terms, I was freaking the fuck out. And that's an understatement. She told me, like, you have to be still, you can't go, otherwise we have to do it's going to take longer, and she gives me the whole, you have to be still, and I'm laying there. My eyes are closed, and I'm trying to breathe, and I'm pulling out every fucking... I emptied the toolbox of, like, listen, I've had panic disorder and PTSD for fucking 40 years. Like, I deal with that shit on a fucking hourly basis. The breathing, everything you need to do to center yourself, and kind of, I do it all the time. This was different. This was different somehow. So I'm using every fucking trick in the book. I'm focusing on my breath. I'm like, it's okay. And like I'm trying to reason with a fight or flight mind is you know in the old movies when someone's screaming and then they need to get slapped? That's my brain is the screaming. The sexist old movies, mine's the woman screaming who needs to get hit, I guess. Thank you 1946. But you can't reason with that, but I'm really trying, and my jaw is still actually hurting from I was clenching my teeth. I was just like, and Of course, the machine was fucking up. Probably because I'm so fat. So, what should have been 20 minutes of screaming panic was extended to 40 minutes, and she couldn't figure it out. And she's on the phone with the guy from Fuji, and I'm like, oh good, this is awesome. Can we make this all day? All fucking day. And if I had known this was going to happen, I would have made you guys, doctor, you're giving me a sedative. Give me the fucking sedative. I don't get horse tranquilizers. What? Have Donald Trump fucking prescribe it. I don't give a shit. Something that's going to, like, I need to not be conscious for this. Let me tell you, PTSD and MRIs, they do not mix. That is like dill relish and butterscotch pudding. That's an epicac. That's not going to work. But I didn't move a fucking muscle, and I just fucking got through it, and the nurse knew I was struggling. She fucking knew. I mean, maybe the ragged breathing and the tears rolling down my fucking cheeks were giving it away. Maybe that tipped her off. And it literally took me days. I'm still kind of recovering from it. For my brain, if you change something, as a surprise, my brain just it blue screens and it turns into a fucking kill bot. It's not. You don't want to do it. Don't surprise parties? No. Not unless you want every relative and friend to be hitting the fucking neck and head with a hockey stick. That's what you don't do. Just as a joke, let's rearrange the fucking furniture on him for when he wakes up. Sure, if you want to be killed, that's a great idea. So this is my. So I'm just waiting to hear back. Just how much cancer I may or may not have. So I'll keep you guys abreast on what they find, if anything. I think they're just going to find some fucking Taco Bell wrappers and the bones of someone who cut me off in traffic. There's probably a lot of things in there. License plates. The Godfather of Soul, James Brown, doing Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, here on 66.6 Devil Dog Radio. Before Mr. Brown, you heard Revolution doing Feeling Alright. Hannah Jada... I am so shitty at pronouncing names. Jadaju. Hannah Jadaju. Let's say that was the perfect way to pronounce it. It sounds gorgeous. Doing What Is Going On. What is going on? What is going on? Why is it going? And where is it going? And what is it? More importantly, what is it? Ruth B. did Lost Boys, and Nat King Cole started us off with It's Only a Paper Moon. What I'm really fortunate for doing these shows and having you kind beasties show up to listen is sometimes it's my way of expressing what I'm feeling. Things that I don't have the words for, but somehow this music says it better than I could. So, especially when we're doing a show on Black History Month, like I said, it's a very it's a heavy fucking topic. I know my sense of humor has been trying to fucking get through it, but listen, I probably won't cry this much every show, but you never know. I mean, it's just join us next week for my cancer retrospective. It's really gonna all songs about cancer. Let's go. 14 hours of just vomit crying. That sounds like a blast. Tune in, please, if you can. I talked about my friend Eddie and what an influence he was on my life, and so many other figures that made an impact on me when I was young and growing up and learning about the world and life and people. But I also need to let you guys know that many of you who are listening have done the same and so much more for me. You know who you are. Hell, just by just by being here and supporting whatever the fuck this is. I know you guys are members of my kinky family. If you're not, hey, fucking good on you for sticking around. There's things of value behind this, I would like to think. I was like cut loose and adrift for a very long time. And I was fucking exhausted and really, more often than not, did not want to continue. You know, like a video game you can't beat and just don't want to fucking waste any more money on it. You can continue in 10, 9, like, you know what, go fuck yourself. I don't know, is there a way, can I write that and can I put it into the computer motherboard so you can understand, computer, to go fuck yourself? And that's why I don't play online with other people. You know the thing that you play video games to avoid, like shitty people and humanity? I got an idea. Let's take the 2 hours I have a day to relax and do stuff for me. Let's get online with complete racist strangers who are going to call me faggot every 5 seconds. That's going to be awesome. That to me is, oh my god, a carnival. I don't need a carnival. I have one right here on my Xbox. This is carnival enough. You guys climbed on the ship and you knew it was falling apart and taking on water. But you know what? You Tinkerbelled that shit and believed in it, and Isaac's the bartender for some reason, and it's a kinky cruise ship, and there's lots of just booze, and and you know, this ship's really different, but it's fun as fuck, I think, or at least interesting, or at least tragic. There's something in it for almost nobody, but that's my way of saying I love you guys. And you've brought more to my life than you probably realize. But thank you all for tuning in and celebrating Black History Month here at Devil Dog Radio. Love you all. Much, much gratitude. Anyway, be kind, watch out for each other, and until next time,